We've faced some of nature's fiercest forces, from scorching deserts to unforgiving jungles, but surviving in the wild is one thing, weathering the unexpected fury of a natural disaster is another. This is a different kind of survival guide. Today, we're trekking through India's history, facing its top 10 most devastating disasters. We'll navigate the wreckage, learn the survival stories, and uncover the spirit of a nation that rises stronger from the ashes. On December 26, 2004, the Indian Ocean was shaken by a massive undersea earthquake, unleashing a tsunami that crashed into coastlines across Southeast Asia, including the shores of India. The waves, some reaching over 30 feet high, slammed into coastal communities, transforming paradise into a scene of unimaginable destruction. Homes were reduced to rubble, fishing boats tossed inland like toys, and lives, thousands of them, were lost in an instant. The aftermath was a grueling test of human resilience. The stench of death hung heavy in the air, the cries of survivors echoed through the debris, and the sheer scale of the devastation seemed insurmountable. But even in the face of such immense tragedy, the human spirit endured. Aid poured in from around the world. Volunteers worked tirelessly, and slowly, painstakingly, communities began to rebuild. The scars of the tsunami remain etched in the landscape, and the memories of those who lived through it. A stark reminder of the raw power of nature and the enduring spirit of humanity. Imagine a silent, invisible predator seeping through the night, choking the air with a deadly gas. That was the horror that unfolded in Bhopal, India, in 1984. A leak at the Union Carbide pesticide plant released a cloud of toxic methyl isocyanate gas, engulfing the city in a matter of hours. People woke to a burning sensation in their lungs, their eyes stinging, unable to breathe. Panic ensued as thousands, desperate for air, ran through the streets, many collapsing, never to rise again. The immediate aftermath was a scramble for survival, hospitals overflowing, the air thick with the stench of chemicals and the cries of those who had lost loved ones. But the true horror of Bhopal unfolded in the years that followed. Thousands more succumbed to the lingering effects of the gas, suffering from chronic illnesses, birth defects, and long-term health complications. The Bhopal gas tragedy serves as a grim testament to the devastating consequences of industrial negligence and the long shadow it casts over generations to come. The Himalayas, majestic and awe-inspiring, also harbor a hidden fury. In 2013, the state of Uttarakhand experienced this wrath firsthand when torrential rains triggered flash floods and landslides of epic proportions. Raging rivers burst their banks, sweeping away entire villages, bridges, and everything in their path. Pilgrims and tourists visiting the holy shrines were stranded, their journey turned into a desperate fight for survival. The landscape, once breathtakingly beautiful, was transformed into a treacherous web of mud, debris, and raging waters. The scale of the disaster was staggering, with thousands feared dead and many more missing. The immediate priority was rescue, with the Indian Army and Air Force working tirelessly to evacuate survivors stranded in remote areas. But the floods left behind a trail of devastation, wiping out homes, livelihoods, and infrastructure. The road to recovery was long and arduous, but the spirit of the people remained undeterred, rebuilding their lives brick by brick, stone by stone. On January 26, 2001, the earth trembled with a force that shook the state of Gujarat to its core. A massive earthquake, measuring 7.7 on the Richter scale, ripped through the region, leaving behind a trail of devastation that stretched for miles. Buildings crumbled, homes were reduced to rubble, and the air was thick with the dust of collapsed structures and the cries of those trapped beneath. The epicenter of the earthquake was near Bhuj, a city that bore the brunt of the quake's fury. Historic buildings, some centuries old, were flattened, and the city's infrastructure was crippled. The response to the disaster was swift, with rescue teams from across India and the world rushing to provide aid and assistance. The Gujarat earthquake tested the limits of human endurance and the capacity for compassion. Amidst the rubble and despair, stories of courage and selflessness emerged. Ordinary citizens turned into heroes, digging through the debris with their bare hands, offering comfort to the injured and sharing their meager resources with those who had lost everything. In May 2020, the Bay of Bengal churned, brewing a storm of unprecedented fury. Cyclone Amphan. Packing winds of over 185 kilometers per hour, Amphan slammed into the coastal regions of West Bengal and Odisha, unleashing its wrath on millions. The storm surge, a wall of water several feet high, swallowed homes, uprooted trees, and turned streets into raging rivers. Millions were evacuated ahead of the cyclone's landfall, a testament to India's improving disaster preparedness. But the sheer force of Amphan left a trail of devastation in its wake. Power lines were snapped, communication networks disrupted, and homes were ripped apart, leaving behind a scene of utter chaos. The immediate aftermath was a race against time, with rescue teams working tirelessly to reach those stranded, provide food and water, and restore essential services. The spirit of resilience shone through as communities came together, sharing whatever little they had and helping each other rebuild their shattered lives. The Earth often gives us warnings, tremors, rumbles, a sense of unease. But on September 30th, 1993, a silent killer struck the district of Latur in Maharashtra. An earthquake, measuring 6.3 on the Richter scale, ripped through the region in the dead of night, catching people off guard as they slept. The earthquake's epicenter was shallow, amplifying its destructive power. Entire villages were flattened, homes reduced to rubble, and thousands were buried beneath the debris. The lack of warning and the timing of the quake compounded the tragedy, as many were trapped in their collapsed homes. The Latur earthquake was a stark reminder of nature's unpredictable fury and the importance of preparedness. The disaster prompted significant changes in India's building codes, emphasizing earthquake-resistant structures, particularly in seismic zones. Every year, the monsoon season brings life-giving rains to India. But in 2008, the Kosi River, once a lifeline, turned into a raging torrent, unleashing catastrophic floods in Bihar. Heavy rainfall in Nepal, combined with breaches in the Kosi embankment, sent a deluge of water surging through Bihar, submerging entire districts. Millions were displaced from their homes, forced to seek refuge in makeshift camps, their lives upended by the rising waters. Crops were destroyed, livelihoods washed away, and the floodwaters left behind a trail of disease and despair. The scale of the disaster was overwhelming, with the Indian government calling it a national calamity. The floods exposed the vulnerabilities of a densely populated region grappling with poverty and inadequate infrastructure. The disaster highlighted the critical need for flood control measures, improved disaster preparedness, and greater investment in rural infrastructure. In the bustling city of Surat, a different kind of disaster unfolded in 1994, a plague epidemic that gripped the city in fear and panic. The outbreak, caused by the bubonic plague, spread rapidly, overwhelming the city's healthcare system. Hospitals were flooded with patients, the air thick with the fear of contagion. The plague outbreak exposed the shortcomings in Surat's sanitation and public health infrastructure. The city's garbage disposal system was inadequate, and rat infestations were rampant, creating ideal conditions for the plague bacteria to thrive. The government responded with a massive public health campaign, deploying medical teams, spraying insecticides, and launching awareness drives. The Surat plague epidemic served as a wake-up call, highlighting the importance of public health infrastructure, sanitation, and disease surveillance. The outbreak prompted significant investments in improving sanitation, waste management, and disease control measures in urban centers across India. Chennai, a bustling metropolis on India's southeastern coast, is no stranger to the monsoon's fury. But in 2015, the city experienced rainfall of unprecedented intensity, turning streets into rivers and submerging entire neighborhoods. The Adyar River, which winds its way through Chennai, breached its banks, inundating homes and businesses. The floods exposed the vulnerability of Chennai's infrastructure, particularly its drainage system, to extreme weather events. unplanned urbanization, encroachment on water bodies, and inadequate stormwater drains exacerbated the flooding. The city's airport was shut down, train services were suspended, and power outages plunged Chennai into darkness. The Chennai floods served as a stark reminder of the growing risks posed by climate change and the urgent need for sustainable urban planning. The disaster highlighted the importance of investing in resilient infrastructure, restoring water bodies, and incorporating climate change considerations into urban development plans. In May 2019, the Bay of Bengal churned once again, giving birth to Cyclone Fani, a powerful storm with winds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour. Fani targeted the eastern state of Odisha, a region frequently battered by cyclones. However, this time, India was prepared. Learning from past experiences, the government launched a massive evacuation effort, moving over 1 million people to safety in a matter of days. Cyclone shelters, built after the devastating 1999 Odisha cyclone, provided refuge to those displaced. The Indian Meteorological Department's accurate forecasts and timely warnings played a crucial role in saving lives. While Fani caused significant damage to infrastructure, crops and property, the death toll was remarkably low, a testament to India's improved disaster preparedness. The effective coordination between government agencies, the deployment of the National Disaster Response Force, NDRF, and the resilience of the people mitigated the cyclone's impact. We've scaled treacherous peaks and navigated dense jungles, but nothing can truly prepare you for the raw power of nature unleashed. India's top 10 disasters are stark reminders of this force, etching tales of devastation and loss into the nation's memory. But they also reveal something truly remarkable: the unyielding spirit of the Indian people. Time and again, from the ashes of destruction, we've witnessed extraordinary acts of courage, compassion, and resilience. These disasters, though heartbreaking, have forged an unbreakable bond of unity, reminding us that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit endures, rebuilds, and ultimately triumphs.